Hey, and welcome back to Dancing Italian Urban Farm. Today, we are making soup in the crock pot and on the stovetop. So I'm going to make two different soups today because the forecast for next week has the lows dipping down into the 50s. So I'm in the mood for soup. When the nights start cooling off, that's when I want soup. So I'm going to make a lasagna soup in the crock pot, and I'm going to make a chicken and dumplings on the stovetop, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. So for the lasagna soup, I'm going to use 1 can of my home canned ground meat. It's a mixture of beef and Italian sausage. And then I'm also going to add in here 2 cans of tomato sauce. One and two. Here comes my dog. He always comes in here when I'm cooking. Don't you? Always. Give that a stir. And then I'm going to put what's left in this carton of chicken broth in here. Now, the original recipe, which I will link for you in the description, calls for 4 cups of beef broth. I don't have beef. I have chicken. There's about 3 cups left in here. I did pour the liquid that was in the can of meat in there, and that should be about a cup as well. So I'm just going to dump all of that in like so. And now we're going to add seasonings. I'm going to add some garlic powder. And I mean, I know recipes have measurements for seasoning, but I say measure with your heart. You know what your family likes, what you like. That was onion powder, by the way. I'm going to put just a sprinkling of red pepper flakes in there. Now I'm going to add in some oregano. This is the oregano I grew in my garden. Pull out this big stem. Don't want that. And I'm just going to kind of crush it between my hands. But you can use an Italian seasoning. You can use just oregano. You can use just basil, whatever your family likes. Like I said, I will link the original recipe, the inspiration recipe for this in the description for you if you want to follow a recipe. I'm also going to add in some basil. Again, this is some homegrown basil. Again, I'm just going to kind of crumble it in my hands. I mean, I guess I could have gotten my mortar and pestle out and done it that way, but my hands are right here. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a stir. Yeah. And then I'm going to let it cook on high for about 3 to 4 hours. And then if you were going to eat this on the day you're making it, at that point you would put your noodles in and let your noodles cook for about 30 to 45 minutes until they're done, and then serve it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook this, and then I'm going to get it packaged up, and I'll add the pasta when we actually eat it. So I'm going to get my lid put on. I'm going to turn it on high and let this go for about 3 hours, and then I'm going to check it. Okay, so now over here in my Dutch oven on my stovetop, I have it on medium heat. I'm going to add some butter to the Dutch oven, about 1/4 cup. This is going to make a lot of soup, so please don't be scared. by the fact that we're putting half a stick of butter. At least it's not a whole stick of butter, right? All right. We're going to put half a stick or a quarter cup of butter in our pan, and we're going to let that melt. Okay, once the butter has melted, and by the way, I'm not following any particular recipe. This is just, I probably had a recipe at some point when I first started making chicken and dumplings, but I don't have one now. This is the method I always use. Anyway, butter, and then we're going to add a quarter cup of flour. All right, and give that a stir. We're making a roux, so we want to cook the flour. We definitely don't want any raw flour taste in our chicken and dumplings. So we are going to just stir that together until the flour is cooked. It usually takes about a minute or so. If you want like a really rich, deep flavor, you can cook your roux down and let it darken. It's completely up to you. All right, now to this, I'm going to add, this is 2 cups of chicken broth and 1 cup of milk. I'm going to add this. I think I'm going to pour with my left hand. Stir with my right. Here we go. You just kind of want to gently pour it in and stir. We don't want any clumps in our soup, but you're going to see it's going to tighten up. There it goes. All right. So that in essence is our gravy for the chicken and dumplings. I'm splashing on myself. You just kind of want to let that come up to a boil, or not really a boil, a simmer, before we start adding the rest of our ingredients. So I'm going to let that come up to a simmer, and then I will show you what we do next. Okay, so while I was waiting for my broth here to come up to a simmer, which it has, I decided that I was going to peel and cut some potatoes. I wanted to put potatoes in this, but I only have 1 can of canned potatoes left. And I was like, oh, do I want to use it? That doesn't really need potatoes. But then I remembered I had some raw potatoes that I needed to use up. So I'm going to put that in here. And I'm just going to let that cook until the potatoes start to get done, because the rest of my ingredients are already cooked. So I've got my home canned chicken, my ugly chicken here. And then I also have a container of vegetables that was in my freezer. It looks like green beans, corn, lady peas, and green peas that I'm just going to dump in kind of at the last minute after, the soup has had time to cook for a little while. But I'm going to let these potatoes cook, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of salt just because they're raw potatoes. Potatoes always need salt. So I'm going to add a little salt to that, and I think I'm just going to let this go for probably about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'm going to check the potatoes and see how done they are. So put this over here. I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to put my lid on it so I don't lose any liquid. But I'm going to let that cook, and then I'm going to come back and we'll add the seasoning and the chicken and the frozen vegetables, and then I'll show you what we do next. All right, let's check our potatoes. I was waiting for them to cook. I decided to head outside, and I got me a bunch of dried beans. Those aren't quite done yet. I'm going to let them go a little bit longer. But I got black beans and kidney beans, I believe is what they are. I'll find out when I open them up. But yeah, I did that. And just kind of checked my garden and put my bare feet in the dirt. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to let those potatoes go for a couple more minutes, probably about maybe 5 more minutes, and then I will come back and we'll finish up this soup. All right, I'm going to turn this down, and we're going to check our potatoes. I may have to add more liquid. Again. That's all right. That's okay. Sometimes that happens when you're making soup. Oh yeah, those potatoes are definitely done. Well, not done, but they're done enough for the next portion. So I'm going to leave this on low, and I'm going to bring my water over here because I'm not sure how much I'm going to need to add. That over, so I can set that right there. All right, so now let me get my spoon. I'm going to add in my canned chicken. This is just some chicken I canned using the raw pack method. I know I have several videos on how to do that on my channel. I'll try to link one for you. I'm going to stir that in. Yes. And then I'm going to put in my vegetables. Woo! Get a mess. Okay. I'm just going to put this whole container in there. Like I said, it's green beans, corn, lady peas, and just good old green English peas. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more water to the pot. And I'm going to add some seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I always measure with my heart. I don't measure with a spoon when it comes to seasoning. Add some onion. That was a little bit much, but whatever. I'm going to add some, I'm going to add some basil. Like that. And I'm going to add some oregano. We like oregano in this house. I grow a lot of it. All right. All right, so we've got that down. I'm going to put my lid, that's a little warm. I'm going to put my lid back on and let this kind of just sit on low-ish, just so everything can get heated through and those vegetables can finish thawing and warm up. And then once we're done with that, we are going to eat this tonight for dinner. I will add the dumplings. Okay, now that this soup's been cooking for about 3 hours, I'm going to add half of this tub of ricotta cheese. Can't have lasagna without ricotta, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Half that container of ricotta cheese. I'm going to give that a stir. And then I have this pizza blend shredded cheese. I'm just going to add the rest of this. It's probably about half a cup of cheese. And I'm going to let that stir in and melt. And once that kind of all comes together, it'll be time to package this up for later in the week. Like I said, I'm not going to add the pasta yet. I find that if I meal prep anything that's got to have pasta with it, I like to cook the pasta fresh. That way it doesn't get mushy. I don't like mushy pasta. If you like mushy pasta, you do you, boo. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let that sit and cook about another, I don't know, hour maybe, with the lid turned diagonally so that some of that liquid can evaporate off. Okay, so here's the lasagna soup. It filled up 2-quart mason jars, and I'm just going to kind of let it sit here and cool off because it's very, very hot before I put lids on it and put it in the microwave. Now, you cannot can this. This is not canning approved. It has dairy in it. You cannot can it. So please, I'm not canning it. I'm going to put a plastic lid on it, and I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator so we can eat it this week. All right, so my microphone went out, so we're going to switch over to a voiceover for the rest of this video. I do apologize for that. Anyway, so what we are doing here is we've brought the soup back up to a boil, and we're going to add our dumplings to the boiling water. And I'm just going to add them in one at a time. I did thaw these out completely. You can add them straight from frozen. It just takes them a little bit longer to cook. And I had the forethought to get them out when I first started making all of these soups, so they were thawed by the time I was ready to add them when we were getting ready to eat dinner. I did have to throw away the top layer because they were frostbitten. And that's one thing I am trying to be more conscientious about, is using up the food that we have in our pantry, in our refrigerator, and our freezers, because I don't want to waste food. But yes, I'm just going to add my dumplings to the boiling soup, give it a big stir, turn it down to a simmer, and let it cook until the dumplings are cooked through. And then we're going to have dinner. I will tell you that the chicken and dumplings was absolutely delicious, as was the lasagna soup. We enjoyed both of them very much, and they will probably be seen again in rotation during these cooler months here that we have coming up. And yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. Chicken and dumplings is delicious, and the lasagna soup was delicious. We ate on both of them twice during the week. So, that's always a good thing. Make a big pot of soup and you can eat on it several times. You don't have to think about cooking, and just heat it up and serve it. But yes, delicious. We enjoyed it immensely. If you enjoyed this video, please, if you would, give it a big thumbs up. That helps us out immensely in the algorithm of the tube of you, and helps more people to see our videos, and we would greatly appreciate that. If you think someone you know would enjoy this video or our other content, please, if you wouldn't mind sharing this video with them. That also will help our channel to grow. And subscribe if you haven't already, and join us as we learn old skills as if they were new ones, and on our journey to becoming more self-sustainable in this crazy world that we live in. Please make sure you leave any comments or questions you have for us in the comments section, and we will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And yeah, join us on our next video by hitting that subscribe button, so you'll be sure to get that notification. Ding the bell so you know when we upload our next video. I try to upload on Sundays, Sunday mornings. It doesn't always happen on Sunday mornings, like this video, which is going up Sunday afternoon. But, life happens sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with me dishing up this delicious chicken and dumplings for my family and a little cheeky sneak peek at what it looks like in the bowl. Like I said, it was delicious. It was very filling. My husband ate 2 bowls of it. Um, he's been asking for chicken and dumplings for a while. It's one of his favorite meals. So he thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, make this recipe. Make the lasagna soup. They're both delicious. Um, like I said, I will link the inspiration recipe for the lasagna soup. If you don't see it, leave me a comment because I probably just forgot to link it or the link didn't work for some reason. But yeah, just leave me a comment and I will get that fixed up for you. All right, here we go. I'm fixing to show you the soup. Are y'all ready? I'm going to dish it up here. All right. Last shot is going to be of this delicious soup. All right, come on, Leslie. Get it together. That's enough. I like broth. I'm getting broth because I love the broth. All right, here you go. Here it comes. And there it is.